Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniature, and I was going to say it's time for that weekly painting progress, but it has been a few weeks at this point, so maybe this will just be our January painting progress. Yeah, so for whatever reason, I just had a tough time picking up a paintbrush for the last few weeks, and part of it was probably because my paintbrushes, being my paintbrushes, are just fraying beyond their wits' ends because I really just put them through the ringer. And yes, I do try to clean them, and yes, I do try to take care of them, but I don't know. I just have that kind of luck with paintbrushes, and I'm also really stubborn about wanting to use the same brushes over and over and over and over and over again. And it's just become a challenge mode of trying to have this splayed out brush actually still work. So that was an issue for a lot of these figures. So that required a lot of repainting and touch-ups. So without further ado, this is pretty much everything that I got finished, at least for the month of January. And we're going to start things off with an actual Trench Crusade model. This is one of the Wretched. Now, I know it's actually finally getting to be winter here in California because inevitably as soon as I go to spray stuff, it starts to rain. And that seems to have been a reoccurring theme every time I would want to do one of these videos, every time, like from about January to mid-March. So yeah, I feel like he's actually supposed to have his face sticking out from under the helmet, but I don't know, maybe it was just a bad paint job or a primer job that I did on this guy and I couldn't tell the difference and I just painted over it and I don't really care now. I mean, how many Wretched are you going to have anyways? Probably a bunch. So I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. And another fun factor that added to the charm of painting just about everybody that you're going to see today is I opted to use the cheap, generic, no-name brand primer from the hardware store rather than all of the multiple cans of Tamiya sitting around. That would have probably been a lot more easier to work with, but nevertheless, this guy's done at least. Speaking of Trench Crusade, because I know that seems to be on everybody's minds as of the time being, went ahead and got one of the repentant skirmishers finished up from Bestiarim's Trench Invasion. Now, he is quite shiny, which is funny, because I haven't even had a chance to seal him yet, but it is what it is. And I gotta say, this is a really cool set. If you have a lot of Bestiarim figures, the fact that they have all the bits, yeah, you could have it all monoposed up and have all the individual parts you need, but if you really wanted to get nitty-gritty and just convert this stuff to your heart's content, they do have that option, despite the fact that their modular kits are a little bit, spotty in terms of distribution. They're definitely not on a monthly basis. They do come out every now and then, but considering how many they have at this point, there is a fair amount of variety. So yeah, he matches up with a lot of the other guys that I've had finished up at this point. A lot of supplicants and stuff and the basically Wretched types. They'll all look decent together. The fact that this guy, he's kind of hunched over, kind of squatting down there, makes him look a little bit shorter than he actually is. Alright, what else do we got? Actually, I think these things are really perfect for Trench Crusade that I'm going to show you here. These are the false ones from Comet Lord Miniatures. They have no bodily orifices, which is fun. They're also very simply painted, but I kind of envision these guys to go along with like the false Hydra that both Comet Lord and many others have done, but I really still prefer the one from Comet Lord, which I have got to get around to someday. But again, I think these are probably great models for Trench Crusade. He's got drippy, bleedy eyes, eye holes. And this one just made a mess. I was thinking to myself after I did that, it doesn't have a mouth, so where is it aiming for with those hands? I'm not sure. I like that it's almost like a JoJo pose. But just weird, faceless, shambling body things. I'm sure somebody out there can find a use. And honestly, if you haven't had a chance to check out Comet Lord's stuff anyways, which obviously we'll have a link to down below, there's been quite a few models that I thought have been very eligible for getting enlisted for Crusades in the Trenches. So it's always fun if you haven't had a chance. Any of those links down below, obviously, do take a look. There's some fun stuff to be had there. Moving right along. Also from Comet Lord, as I get ready to paint the big stuff, we have one of the Star Spawn. So I wanted to at least have the eyes match up with like Mayhem, which I painted a long time ago. Very similar look. Yes, it's wearing a mask. And I wanted to do something different with the back, and I haven't figured out what I want back, because it still looks like a mouth back there. I don't know what to put inside it, or how to paint it, but it's pretty simple. I like the base that it came on, though. It's also nicely sized. Significantly smaller than some of the big stuff. And, I mean, you know, you can always use, like, gross, weird, tentacled, multi-eyed monsters for a variety of gaming purposes as well. Alright. Next up. Shoot, I totally forgot what this guy's called. And I don't even know if I ever featured him in a video. This is from Battle Yak Miniatures. And they had this whole set of, like, Necromundan type enforcers slash like Adeptus Custodes inspired guys. I mean, they had all kinds of fun equipment. It's got like the little, you know, emblem badge there on his chest. I was going for some sort of like Victorian law enforcement steampunkish thing. I don't know. I like it. I want to seal it because it's very glossy at the moment. And no, I'm not going to use that crappy one that I keep trying to get rid of, that the bottle never seems to ever end. But this was a fun set, I gotta say. I know I printed a bunch of other ones, and I haven't even bothered to check if I've ever actually discussed them, which is a shame, because Battle Yak just keeps chugging out constantly new stuff, modular stuff, interesting stuff, and it's like, there's only so much time and patience that I have to film things. So again, if you don't ever have a chance to see it by me showing it to you, always take a look at those links, but fun little figure. I want to do some more. A random quick paint job that didn't come out as nice as I wanted. Again, way too shiny at the moment. A Raging Heroes Lust Elf. Pretty simplistic paint job. The sculpt itself is quite nice. I didn't know what to do with the colors. It's very purpley. There's at least 3 different purples, but unfortunately on camera everything is just blended together. And even if I play with like the lighting, I don't think it makes a huge difference. Not really. I mean, I'm sure you can figure out what to use it for. I honestly don't remember if that was part of the sci-fi set or their fantasy set. And I know they've done quite a few, you know, of both with the Lust Elves, even going back to the toughest girls in the galaxy. So that was a 3D print one, by the way. I know I have some of the actual physical ones that were a pain to get cleaned up. I mean, let me tell you, a pain. Alright, what else? The Lord Terminos. Finally got around to finishing him. I'm not super pleased with it. Doesn't match the GW version all that greatly. But it's alright. I got the job done. I got him painted. I didn't bother with scribbling any of the litany stuff because, like I said, all my brushes are just shot to crap at this point. And I didn't want to ruin what's a reasonably decent paint job. Funny thing is, I did paint everything in tiny stages, so you can't see most of the detail that ended up getting painted. That's always fun. And he's got these massive seams that I really fought with to get all sealed up, and forget it. I mean, outside of having to put some, you know, green stuff or something on him, it's not going to make a difference at this point, I'm afraid. He's a big dude, too. Yeah, he does have a tactical rock to stand on, but he's still a big guy. What else we got? I don't remember what this guy's called. This guy was actually a misprint. Look what happened here. I have no idea how that happened, and I'm 99% sure that it's not supposed to be the case. This is a model from Archvillain games. I love... I'm going to break it, I'm afraid. I love the sense of movement, the flowing capes with this guy. Just, there's a lot going on. I did an awful job removing it. I did an awful job trying to get it started. I figure I at least salvaged enough of the model. There's a lot there that I'm not happy with. What's funny is, believe it or not, there actually is a face inside that cloak. When you look at the STL file, you can actually see it in there. I did my best to try to get a good look at it after it's printed. I'm like trying to see if you can find it in there. It does not look like it. But getting a paintbrush in all those spots is very, very difficult. You can see I missed a spot right there on the left by my thumb underneath that. And there's a little bit over there on the opposite side. But again, it's just like... I really do like Archvillain stuff. I feel like they've got just, on a technical level, those sculpts are doing things that nobody else is really do. But I feel like the old adage of just because you can doesn't mean you should really applies to some of their models sometimes. In that, like, there's just too many opportunities for things to go snapping and breaking. Yeah, they look gorgeous and amazing. There's no denying that. But it's like, from a gaming perspective, I'm always hesitant to want to use their stuff because I feel like I'm going to break it every single time. And I have. So we're not going to discuss how many like larger things that have been started as video projects that did not end up ever seeing the light of day because it didn't last long enough for me to make it to the camera. Oh man, seriously. It's a shame too because, I mean, like I said, the sculpts are gorgeous. All right, moving on to something a little bit more positive. Our friend Alistair from Kingdom Death. This is the 15th anniversary version of him. I feel like I did a reasonable, decent job. Not great, but like I said, my brushes are dying out on me. I did try to do the eyes decently. The fact that there's like all kinds of stuff going on underneath the cloak. Oh, that needs to be fixed. All over the place. I managed to get some gold paint on the bottom of the lantern there. Fun. And he's supposed to be wearing rings, so that's why there's some globs of like silvery gold on his hands there. I thought the base turned out decent too. Try to follow the artwork. And as I had promised, it was going to be the first of the 15th anniversary figures that I would get done. That was an absolute guarantee. I knew that was going to happen. Alright, moving towards the end of the pile, but no, we're not done. We've got one of the Meer Brutes. Nope. Well, it is technically one of the Meer Brutes from the Dragon Trapper's Lodge. This is a Swamp Fiend. And as it's a member of the Cult of the Pale One, and they have all kinds of tentacly eyeballed monstrosities either growing on them, in them, or controlling them. That's what's going on with his arm there, is it's all swollen and gross. And I probably should do something else with like the top part where it's all bulbous and having a mouth and eyes start to grow out of it. I also snapped the end off of his axe there, and I have no idea what happened to it. Never encountered it, and I'm wondering if it was even like that when I first filmed him. That's kind of sad. I don't even know. But he's done. I played around with a lot of contrast paints with him, much like his predecessors. I'm pretty sure I've shown off the Cult of the Pale One Lizard Man I painted a long time ago with those same paints. But I also got around to getting one of the Meer Brutes done. These are the basic generic Crocodilian guys. Again, mostly contrast, just I figured it was a little bit easier. Not the best print job either. I can see all those tiny little mistakes, especially when they're in focus, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Come on. There you go. We'll show off the remainder of the Colt pretty soon this week. I usually like to do all the Dragon Trappers launch stuff at the end of the month. It's funny because that's like my way of capping off the month, but also to get the next one started. So that's like always my big kind of excitement on the tabletop is I get to finish off all these guys, but then there's who knows what else coming. There's some fun stuff coming in February and March from them, so I'm really looking forward to the lodge offerings. So keep an eye out for those. And finally, I even managed to get a couple figures from my brother. That's always a rarity and always something to be celebrated, so let's continue to see him get some more stuff done. He has been going hardcore on his mining, I don't know what else, just excavation, heavy equipment skirmish force that seems to be roughly based on Gene Stealers. So these guys are part of the Iron Blood faction that the Maker's Cult puts out, and so I'm more than likely assuming it's supposed to be based on like one of the hybrid Metamorphos or something like that from an actual 40k army, but no, they're all kind of like lab technicians. Almost everybody's in like some kind of like technical hood, and so rather than the extra physical mutated arms, they all have like extra mechanical ones, which is kind of just a fun way to do it. Lots of heavy duty, weapons, equipment, tools, stuff like that. And to accompany them, I was quite impressed with this one. This is a heavy-duty industrial suit that we got put together from Crimson Steel Mechworks. I want to say this is a Nyx. So Crimson Steel Mechworks has done a couple Kickstarters for just a ridiculous, and I mean that with all hyperbole. I mean ridiculous amount of parts that are completely cross-compatible with each other. And so the Nyx was like the core of the original kind of personal trooper power armor suits that they did, and there's just so many parts. You can come up with all kinds of stuff. Sadly, there's nothing Trench Crusade-y. I've been wanting to go bug Kaor about that and see if what he could come up with for like a New Antioch type kind of Weird War I style suit. I mean, you have enough parts. I bet for one of the more industrious modelers out there, they probably could come up with something. I haven't tried yet, because just going through all those parts is going to take ages. Seriously, people, there is a ton of stuff if you want power suits. Crimson Steel Networks has got them. And finally, just to top it off with something simple, yet another figure from Skullforge Studios. This is part of their Arsenal lineup, and I want to say it was one of their just random assisted merc you can pick up. But he's got the tools for the trade. Nice paint job, as always. It's funny, whenever I give these to my brother, they always end up like decent prints, and I'm like, on mine, I can see every little mistake, I don't know if he did more post-work cleaning than I did, but who knows. So how many figures? Maybe this year what I'm going to try doing just for my own sanity, because I have been so busy with students and work and family and things like that, it hasn't lent itself a whole lot of time for painting like it used to. Of course, when I first started this channel, I think my kids were in elementary school. One's in college. One's like halfway done with high school. Things have changed a bit. Things have definitely changed in the world around us, but some things will always stay the same. And at least in that regard, there's always painting, and there's always those hobbies. And I will always continue, for as long as my sanity holds out at least, posting that stuff for you guys to share with. So not a bad little haul for the month. And I don't know, let me know your guys' opinions. Do you want to see, should I be posting stuff up as I finish it? Should I save it for the end of the month? I'm genuinely curious because, I mean, you guys are the ones who watch it after all. I'm the one who just keeps on doing it. So let me know your thoughts below. And like I said, check out some of those links because there's always cool stuff by lots of cool creators. And we always want to continue to encourage that. So with that said then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.